Hello, my name is Hartland Brown. I'm a principal architect here at Snowflake, and I'm here today to talk about a new quick start that we've made available on our Getting Started with Snowflake page. So the first thing you should do, of course, is navigate to the Getting Started with Snowflake page. Once you're here, if you just type in SEC, you will see the Snowflake Public Data SEC Tariff Sentiment Quickstart, which is what we'll be doing today. Go ahead and click into it. And once you've landed on this overview page, you can see a bunch of different stuff about what we're calling our Snowflake Public Data Products. Now, what are these? Snowflake has curated a myriad of different data sets and made them available in a listing on our marketplace. If you click on this link, you'll navigate to that listing and you'll be able to see the dozens of different data sets that we've made available. Some are free and some are paid, but they cover a ton of different topics. So feel free to just peruse at your leisure if you find other data sets that you're interested in. But specifically, this demo will be going over the SEC Filings data set and going through this data, looking for different mentions of tariffs and exploring the sentiment that these different filings have towards tariffs. So let's navigate back to the quick start. And once you've gone over this a little bit, it's again just going over what the Snowflake public data products are. You can go ahead and click next. And the first thing that this is going to ask you to do is navigate to our GitHub repo and download the notebook and then upload it into your Snowflake account. This notebook does have to be run from a Snowflake account as it contains Streamlit elements. So I have already uploaded it and I will go ahead and run over here. So at the very top here, we've just got a little bit of an overview. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to download the data. Then we'll filter that data for 10Q forms, extract all of the different text data that mentions tariffs, pass that data through Cortex to analyze sentiment towards tariffs inside of those filings, and then display graphs and raw results to get a little bit of analysis of that sentiment. The first thing we're going to do is download the data. You have two options. You can either go back to that listing that I showed previously, or you can run this cell here, which will automatically download that listing. I'm going to go ahead and just automatically download the listing. And once you have that available, you can go ahead and update the public data DB variable with whatever you have named your database that the listing was downloaded to. If you run this cell, likely it'll be named Marketplace CyberSyn. If you downloaded it off the listing, just change this variable to whatever you named that database. Next, we're going to run a quick query. If you go ahead and click next on the quick start, you'll see the download the data, which we've already taken care of. Next, you can see that we're going to filter the data. So go back to our notebook. And here we'll see that we are querying all of this data, specifically the SEC reports index, to find anything that mentions a 10Q form, which is the filing we're interested in. This specific query is just going to look for anything that mentions a 10Q form or is of type 10Q and is in the fiscal year 2025 or 2024. So we're going to run these two cells. Excellent. So now that we've filtered the data down that far, we can hop back to our notebook. And the next step is to extract the mentions of tariffs. So if we go down, we'll see that this next cell is just going through every single text value field that we have and just looking for anything that mentions tariffs. We've got an I like here and here, as well as a view or a table at this point that is created at the end to just create a pile of any of the data that mentions tariffs. We'll go ahead and run this. Excellent. Click next on your quick start. And the next thing we're going to do is actually query Cortex for sentiment. So if you roll down, the section is going to be called Pass Report Sections to LLM for Labeling. And if we take a look at this, it's a pretty simple query. We're just going to be hitting Cortex complete with a prompt that tells Cortex that we need to analyze all of this tariff data that we've compiled so far and just get a general sentiment. That sentiment is either going to be pessimistic, neutral, or optimistic. And we've provided a little guidance on when those three sentiments should be used. I've already run this. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to run. So if you're following this video, feel free to pause and just give it a second to complete. But once you're done with that, you can run below. And what we're going to first do is create a group analysis of all of this data. And we're going to take a look at this grouping to see just how many mentions of tariffs are in this data set over the last year or so. So once you take a look at that data set, you see that there's been obviously a lot of mentions of tariffs, especially around looks like May and July, which isn't very surprising. If you go a little bit lower, you can run the graph cell, and this will create a graph of just the mentions of tariffs over time. If you hop back to the quick start, you can see that we've got the analyzed results here. The first one is, of course, going to be that graph that we just made. And if we look at this graph again, there's spikes in the mentions of tariffs in these filings, and they have definitely happened around peak times where there's been a lot of mentions of tariffs. The next thing we're going to do is explore how each company's sentiment towards tariffs has been. So go ahead and run this graphs too. Again, if you scroll down on your quick start, you'll see that we're just analyzing the results by company at this point, and it'll talk through this a little bit as well. So we've got our data set here with the tariff section containing the sentiment. And if you run the Explorer cell at the very bottom, this will bring up the little Explorer we've made. You can choose the company that you want to explore their sentiment on. 1-800-Flowers came up first, so we're just going to take a look at that. It's a 10Q filed on May 9th, and Cortex thought that they were pessimistic on tariffs. If we take a look at it, it looks like they're justifying this sentiment because the company states that they have been exposed to roughly a $55 million exposure on tariffs, and that appears to be specifically in regards to China-sourced products. And it's going to provide a whole lot of other explanation on the sources in this database that mention tariffs for this company. Now, you can spend a little bit of time with this, go through different companies and stuff like that. But again, the main thing that we wanted to highlight here is this is all data that is completely free and available to you on the marketplace under the Snowflake Public Data Products listing. So if you want to peruse that listing more, find anything that's relevant to you and your data, the goal of this listing is to help you unlock your Snowflake experience, unlock your company's data, and support you through your entire business process. Thank you so much, and please feel free to comment on this video or leave any comments that you have on the GitHub, and we will address those concerns.